Well, hey there, youth ministry family. Welcome to the Youth Ministry Mentor. I'm your host, Tony Wolf. And in today's episode, I want to talk about something that we all relate to, and that is burnout. I know that you've heard that term, and I certainly hope and pray that you haven't experienced burnout. But it's something in the ministry. If you're a senior pastor, youth pastor, children's director, it's just one of those jobs that I think is susceptible to burnout. And we're not the only occupation that is susceptible to burnout, but in the ministry, it's just something that can happen to the best of us. And I can say from my own experience that, and I've been doing youth ministry for over 20 years, I don't think that I've ever hit rock bottom. I don't know that I've ever had complete and total burnout, but I've definitely flirted with it. And I've had some seasons where things were rough. And I struggled a little bit, and I just wasn't feeling it, and I didn't feel like I was giving it my best, and my heart wasn't in it, and I felt a little empty. Maybe not rock bottom, but I've been headed down that path, and so I want to give you a few thoughts about what causes burnout. And this isn't an exhaustive list, but a couple ideas of things that can cause burnout, and some ways that we can help to avoid it, because we want to be in this for the long haul and do our very best for as long as we can. And so a couple things. I think one of the things that can lead to burnout in the ministry is that oftentimes we as youth pastors wear a lot of hats. We get pulled in a lot of different directions. I don't know what your youth ministry looks like, but I know in my years of experience, I've done, not just the youth stuff, preparing youth lessons and working with teenagers, but you're kind of maybe the social media guy, or you're doing graphics for different things. You're doing some technology things, working with computers. Maybe you get pulled into some other areas of ministry. You have to help a little bit with Vacation Bible School or children's ministries, or maybe you have to preach on occasion and on Sunday mornings. And so there's other ministries that aren't necessarily your primary ministry, but other things that you kind of get pulled into. Maybe you help in the schools with different various things. I do a mentorship program at our local middle school, which is great. All of these things are good, but sometimes we just are kind of wearing a lot of different hats. Also in my occupation, I lead our worship service. So I do worship things, and that's part of my job, but it's just shifting gears. And so that's something that maybe you want to think about. Maybe you find that you maybe even make a list of all the different kind of hats that you wear, and just being aware of that and kind of being conscious of it can really help navigate that. You're not just running around like not understanding why you're so tired all the time, but maybe that will help you understand. Maybe it's because I'm getting pulled in a lot of different directions. And if I have a game plan, that will help me navigate that. Another thing that I think can lead to burnout is because in our occupation, we're tending to our flock. This isn't just a job where, you can just clock in and do your job and then just clock out and leave it all behind and go home and not care. We have people, these are real people, real students that we love and we care for. And we're hearing their stories, and we know what they're up to and what sports they're involved in at different activities, and we know about their families, and you might be dealing with situations where people are dealing with with some financial crisis, or someone's going through sickness, or someone has lost a loved one, and we're empathetic and sympathetic people that care about real people. And that can be taxing. That can be draining when our hearts go out to these people. And we're, we celebrate the joys, but also sometimes we carry each other's burdens, which again, it's a good thing, but sometimes that can just weigh us down because we do care. We're caring people. And we can't just go, yeah, I'm done. I worked until whatever time and I clocked out and now I'm off the clock and I just leave work at work and I don't care. Some people can do that. If you work in a factory, I used to work in a factory in college. Hey, I could care less what happens to that factory after I'm done. I made all my parts and I'm done until tomorrow when I clock back in. But in the ministry, it's just different. And the third thing that I think can lead to burnout is not setting boundaries. And what I mean by that is sometimes we have in the ministry, we have a tendency to just be yes men. We just want to say yes to everything. We want to help everybody out that we can. And we just drop everything we're doing sometimes because somebody says, hey, I need you, pastor. Hey, can I talk? Can we set up a meeting? And we just say, yeah, yes, 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 yes. And I think it's good to set up boundaries. And that doesn't mean you have to say no to everything. It doesn't mean you have to be a mean person and just say no and not care. But we need to have some healthy boundaries that we live within that set us up for success. And so let me give you just one, this is kind of a pro tip. I learned this at a youth conference, and it was about planning, how to schedule and organize and be a better planner. And this is one of those things that just, I forgot probably 90% of the things I've learned at these conferences, but this was one of the things that jumped out at me. And it's this principle. It's okay and it's good for you to schedule meetings with yourself. Okay. I don't remember who the presenter was at this conference, but he said on his calendar, he puts in meetings that he schedules with himself. Okay. And then as best as he can, he's going to honor that meeting that he needs to have with himself. So if he says, let's say, for example, Wednesday morning from 9 to 11, I have a meeting with myself, because I need to plan my youth lesson. That's when I'm going to do that planning, or my sermon prep, or whatever it is. That's a meeting that I have, and I have it scheduled, and it's scheduled for me. And if you have a secretary or an administrative assistant or someone, you could even tell them, I have a meeting planned. And so if anybody needs to get a hold of me, I'm going to have a meeting from 9 to 11. Okay, if you don't, you just know that for yourself. And then here's where it comes into play. When someone else demands your time, when someone says, hey, can I talk to you? Or can we set up a meeting? Or can I come in real quick? Or can you meet me somewhere? If that meeting that I had scheduled was with another person, would I cancel on that other person? If I was going to have coffee with somebody from 9 to 11, and something serious came up, something really big came up, and I thought, oh, wow, this needs addressed right now, I'm going to have to cancel that. If it's that big of a deal, then I would cancel that meeting that I had with myself, and I would address that big thing that needs to be addressed. However, if I wouldn't cancel that meeting that I had planned for coffee with somebody else because somebody wants to come in and talk about something that's not really that important. It's important to them, but it's really not urgent. It's really not pressing. And I say, well, I have a meeting scheduled. I'm free after 11. I would say that to them, even if that meeting was with myself. Okay. Or you might have your, like I said, secretary or administrative assistant or whoever say, well, he has a meeting until 11. He'll be free after that. And then keep that. So that's just a kind of a pro tip. That's something that you might consider if you're finding that you're just really disorganized, or you're running a lot of different directions and you need a plan. That's a way that you can keep things on schedule. You've got things neat and tidy, and everything's going to get done. And you have these boundaries that you're going to say to people when they say, I need to talk to you, or I want a phone call. Can you text me? Can we meet up? You're going to say, no. And that's not a hard no, never, always, I'm not going to talk to you ever. It's just, I have something else that's important to me and I'm going to get it done first and then we'll talk. Okay. So I'm going to say yes eventually, but maybe it will help you say no in the moment. So those are some boundaries that you can set up. And I want you to think about this too, especially if you have a family, if you have a spouse, if you have kids, that is your top priority. Okay. And please hear me when I say, don't love the church and take care of your flock more than your family at the expense of your family. That's not fair to them. Okay. So setting up these boundaries and saying, okay, I'm going to give the church everything that I can, but I'm going to make sure I'm giving my wife the time that she needs. And I'm going to make sure I'm giving my kids the time that they need. And that's my top priority. And think about this. The way that you do that is a great model for the rest of the church to see. So they're seeing you be a good spouse, and they're seeing you be a good parent. So that's an example that you can set. for the rest of your congregation. So it's a good thing. It's good for them, and it's a good model for how they ought to be living their lives. So again, just a little pro tip there, okay? And then finally, I would just say, just be planning as far ahead as you can. I know when I was young in youth ministry, man, I just can't believe I survived it. Sometimes when I reflect back, I was literally just working 1 week at a time. I would only know what was going to happen that week. And I would come in I would have Mondays off. So I would come in on a Tuesday and I would think, what are we going to do at youth group this coming week? I have no idea. So I'm going to just plan it and then pull it off. And then the next week I would say, well, I wonder what we're going to do at youth group this week. Okay. I was just barely surviving. And the good thing was I was young enough and I had the energy enough to do that. But as I got older, I don't have quite the energy and the stamina to do that. I had to learn how to plan long-term, get things mapped out, get things planned out. So think about all of the things that you do. Do you have a youth ministry that you plan? Do you have Sunday school lessons you need to plan? Do you have Bible studies that you need to plan? I do worship, so I have worship that I need to plan every week. And looking at your calendar, and I'll post a link in the description to this video of how to plan your whole year calendar. I have a whole video on that, and that's going to help you really succeed. And so plan out as far as you can and have a nice game plan so you know where you're going, and it's going to help you so much on the daily basis. It's going to take a big pressure, a big relief off of your shoulders knowing I know where I'm at and I know where I'm going. There's still work to be done. I have to work out the details, but planning out as far as you can, I think, will make a world of difference as well. And so I certainly hope that you're not in the middle of burnout right now. And I hope that some of these ideas that I've given you this morning will help you to avoid the burnout, because this is a weird job. It's unique and it's different than every other job I can think of. And like I said earlier, this isn't a comprehensive list of everything that causes burnout, but it's a couple of things that I have found that have pushed me more towards burnout than some other things. So maybe you can relate to these things. Maybe some of these things really resonate with you. Maybe some of them don't. But I hope this has been beneficial to you. I don't want you to experience burnout. I want you to thrive, and I just want you to know that I'm praying for you. I don't know everybody on this channel. I don't know everyone that subscribes, but I'm just praying for all the subscribers and all the people that watch these videos that God will bless you in your ministry, that He would fill you with an encouragement and an excitement for youth ministry, and that you would just be able to carry on, keep being strong for the Lord to make a difference for the kingdom. Now, let me give you a giveaway. Today, I've decided that I would love to give you a super wacky and wild and absurd, crazy scavenger hunt that I created. This is just bizarre. And I'll just tell you, you'll see it. I'll post it up on the screen here. It just has really no purpose and no point. It's just weird and bizarre. I guess that's the point. It's how absolutely weird could I make this scavenger hunt? And the way that we used it in our ministry was I broke the kids up into groups, and then I gave them each this paper with this crazy scavenger hunt, and it just said go, and they just took off through the church and ran around and were crazy and tried to solve as much of it as they could. And then really honestly, it was kind of like that TV show Whose Line Is It Anyway, where like the points are made up, or the games are made up and the points don't matter. Like there was no real winner. It was just kind of mad chaos. And so maybe that will work for you. If that sounds like something that's fun, you are welcome to use this. And if your group's the kind that has just a little more competitive and a little more structured, and you want to find a way to score this and award prizes, you can do that. But we just did it to just be absolutely silly and crazy on a youth night. So this is a sneak peek into my brain and how weird I can be. But that's one of my strengths, and so I play to it. And so that's your freebie today. You can feel free to take that, and it really takes very, very little planning. You can tweak it, change it to make it apply to your situation, but that might make for a nice fun night for you guys. In place of maybe your typical youth group, you can do the crazy, wild, bizarro scavenger hunt. So that's my free giveaway for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I'll leave you with this thought, as I do every week. I want you to know that genuinely, seriously, I do. I love you. I love you because you're in youth ministry, and I love you for what you do. I love that you're making a difference in the kingdom, but I don't love you nearly as much as Jesus does. God bless you guys.